It's back. JRPTeaTime is back. Well, we're just going to call it JRPT from now on, and I'm not quite sure if this is the format I'm going to go with in the future, but today we're going to be talking about Super Mario Party, which I know isn't a JRPG, but I couldn't really do a review for this because the second I put any of the footage full screen, Nintendo will just claim the video. So I thought this would be a really good chance to bring back a bit of JRPT, at least possibly momentarily, but possibly we'll keep it going with this similar format. So the tea for today, I really wanted to get peach tea because Princess Peach, right? And I did have some at some point, but it's gone now. So what we've got instead is Banana Bake from T2, not a sponsor. I wish they were, but Banana Bake because Diddy Kong, Donkey Kong, they're both in this, so that'll have to do. As you can see, we've got tea cam. And now we've got plenty of time to talk. So Super Mario Party isn't something that I wasn't planning on getting it. I didn't ask for a review code from Nintendo. I really liked Mario Party games back on the GameCube. I think it was like 4, 5, and 6, I think. Don't quote me on that. But one of them had this amazing, like this whole side content thing where you would earn points by playing the party mode and whatever else, but then you could go in and it was like a robot fighting thing. You could build your own tank, like with different weapons and different tires and that sort of thing, and you would battle against the other people, and that was really cool. It was like a really cool thing, because the problem with the most recent Mario parties is that all the focus is on playing with friends, and it's also not a good focus because they tried to take it away from making it the traditional Mario Party, like the board game style. Every board game ruins friendships and family. Like if you ever played Monopoly with your family, it ruins everything. So board games are meant to cause a bit of contention. I don't know why Nintendo decided to try and take that out of the game, because like the last one on the Wii U where everybody was in like one cart and one person got to be Bowser, that was crap. That was a really, really crappy Mario Party game. And there really hasn't been a good one for a long time that I can remember. I don't think I played any of the Wii ones because I'd sort of lost faith in the series. So Super Mario Party rolls around, and the trailers and in the direct, you know, it looks like a traditional Mario Party game. It looks like something I could get into, but you know, I still wasn't that interested. And fast forward a little bit after release, and I go to my friend's place, and my two friends there, they have a copy of Super Mario Party. Hey, do you want to play around? People say you never forget to ride a bike. Well, you never forget to play Mario Party when it's the real Mario Party. And I had a lot of fun. It feels like Mario Party. It plays like Mario Party. The mini games are all there. The board game is there. It's not perfect though, and there are quite a few criticisms, and I do have some major gripes with the game as it is, even though I actually really, really like it. So to start off, I think the boards are good. I like the size of the boards. I like their sort of gimmicks, their placements. There should probably be more red, like lose coin spaces, because there are barely any. I remember it used to be like, it was either like 3 blue and 1 red, like basically that was the layout of every board in the old ones. This one is like, there's like 3 reds on the entire board, so you're like always collecting coins. But other than that, it feels pretty much like any other Mario Party board game. They are possibly a little bit smaller overall than a couple of the other ones, like they had much larger boards, whereas these ones are all like the medium-sized boards. But the problem is there are only 4 of them, and that is a bit of a problem. Now, of course, I'm really hoping, and I'm sure many of us are really hoping, that Nintendo update the game like they did Super Mario Odyssey and Splatoon and whatever else, and hopefully we might get an extra board or 2 at some point. And that is something I would definitely encourage Nintendo to do, because this is a really, really fun Mario Party game. The mini games are something that I have to talk about right after I get this tea, because it's looking ready. banana baked tea is really dark. We're going to let that cool down before we take a sip. So the mini games are awesome. I think there's a really good collection of mini games in Super Mario Party. Like some of the best concepts I think I've ever seen in a Mario Party game, or indeed just mini games in general. The execution is not quite there on some of them. There does seem to be a removal in a lot of the game. Like a lot of the games you would expect to have the standard controls, you know, like you move around and then you also have the option to jump, ground pound and like strike like you could in all the other ones because you disrupt your opponents. But there are so few games that you get like a punch or a jump even. There are so few there, even in the games where you think you should sort of be able to interfere. But in terms of the actual like the funness of them and their concepts, they're really good. Like there's one where you have to choose the largest area. Basically on the screen it pops up like a big rectangle, and then it has like cutouts of different shapes, like random shapes that you've got to try and guess which one has the most surface area. And it is really tricky because it's sort of set out on a grid, so they're by squares, and you don't see the squares revealed until after everyone's chosen. And you know, there are like one square difference, so it's really, really tricky to try and find the largest one. And I've often thought like, oh yes, I definitely got the largest one, and then I got like the second smallest. So there are some good uses of the Joy-Cons as well. There's like ones where you can pick 5 boxes filled with nuts from like a collection of like 20 of them, and when you pick them up, you can shake them, and the Joy-Cons will make like a sensation, a vibration that tries to tell you how many nuts are inside. So like it'll make a slower vibration, like it'll feel like just one nut's bouncing around if there's one nut in it. It'll feel like a lot of them are bouncing around if there's 5 in it. So there are some good uses of the Joy-Cons as well, and there are some really great games. The minigame collection is good. The online mode is a little bit bare bones because it's basically just mini games, so that's it. You don't actually get to play the board game online, which is a really strange move. I'm not sure why they did that, because I don't know, like the whole thing of the Mario Party is like a package deal, you know. It's the mini games by themselves are good, but they're like nothing in comparison to actually playing the board game and having the mini games together. So while there are only the 4 boards in the traditional mode, there are actually a bunch of different modes that you can play that all play differently, and they have their own weird little gimmicks and that sort of thing. So there's a team battle one, which is like the traditional Mario Party, and they're on like slightly altered boards from the original in the Mario Party, except it's you and a teammate versus somebody else and a teammate, and your dice rolls get put together and you actually get to move around freely on your turn. So you can pick what square you want to land on, which brings a lot of strategy into the mix. If you pass over an enemy, you jump on their head, steal a couple of coins on their way round, and you can like round around in circles, try and use up all the moves. And so that's fairly strategic, and that's pretty fun. I actually quite like that mode. That's pretty good. Then there is the river survival mode, which is just god awful. And they make you play through all these modes, by the way, to basically finish the story, or like what little story there is. But you're basically collecting 5 gems, and in order to do so, you have to like fully clear each mode. So the traditional mode is you have to get, you know, like you have to place high, like first or second, I believe, in all 4 of the maps before you get that gem. And then in party battle mode, it's the same thing. And then there's the like the minigame marathon, where it basically it gets you to play through like all 80 minigames on like this sort of like just a progression system, one after the other. And so once that's done, you get a gem there. But river survival is one you have to do, and you have to get to all of the endings. I'm pretty sure there are 5, and it is just so boring. Like the first time it's fine, you know, like basically what it is you and 3 other people get in a raft, and you have to like you use the Joy-Con to pretend you're paddling down the river, and you have a time limit to get to the end, and there are branching paths, and then if you pop a red balloon on the way down there, you get to do a mini game which extends your time limit. And that's basically the thing, you have to do enough mini games on the way down to have enough time to reach the end. You have to get to the end of each of the paths, and man, it is just boring. Like, the first time's okay, but then the second time is basically the same thing. It's just basically the exact same thing, and there are only like a handful of mini games, like at most, like because they all have to be co-op mini games. I mean, they could have just removed that and spent the time giving us like 2 extra boards, because I'm not really sure who these co-op modes are for, like these ones, like these friendly modes, you know, like the last 2 Mario Parties has sort of been like that, where lots of people team up because they don't want it to be like 1v1v1v1 or whatever. I'm just not sure who the river survival mode is for. Like, you have to work cooperatively with 4 friends, and playing with 3 computers is even worse because they are just stupid. Like, the AI on them is ridiculous in river survival. They don't know what they're doing. They just continually like paddle into walls and rocks and don't go for the mini games, all kinds of stuff. But people my age, you know, and young adults and all that thing, they want to play actual Mario Party. They don't want to like be all goody and not have it be an actual competition or an accomplishment or anything. Like, we don't want that. And then kids, I would have trouble believing that a kid, you know, like a kid and like a brother and a sister, or, you know, 2-3 sisters or whatever, like a bunch of siblings would want to sit down and all be in a raft together and do crappy little cooperative mini games. Like, they would probably just want to play the regular Super Mario Party or just the mini games themselves. See, I'm not quite sure who these goody co-op modes are for, but they're there. I wish they wouldn't spend so much time on them, because clearly that took away from the actual Mario Party mode. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm just been talking, so I have no idea how much of this I've spent complaining and how much I've spent praising, but it's actually a really good game. The controls are like, you play with 1 Joy-Con, which is good because straight away you can have 2 players even if you've only got 1 Switch, and it doesn't ever feel awkward or bad, or yeah, it feels great, it plays great, and it is it's the best Mario Party we've had in some time. I don't think it's anywhere near the best, but it's up there. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, other than that, it's just really fun. It is like playing an old school Mario Party for the most part. I have, played through the actual Mario Party section through each board like a couple of times now, and I could still do it another dozen more. I don't think I'm going to get bored of it that quick. And even though the online mode is only minigames, it does have a nice competitive edge to it, because you are competing against other people in real time trying to do these minigames the best. There does feel like there's a bit of an achievement there, and it is fun to do that, especially if you come out on top. So yeah, I mean, you should get it. Like, if you like old Mario Party, if you like actual Mario Party games, you should totally get this. I certainly wasn't planning on it, but it's turned out pretty well. So to sign off this relaunch of JRPT, and I better say that this is also a bit of a momentous occasion because I've surpassed 20,000 subscribers. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm gonna have a little sip of this tea, see how we're going. Man, that is still so hot, but it's so good. So yes, thank you everyone for being a subscriber, for watching my stuff, and hopefully you're enjoying this stuff. I don't know what's coming next, but I do have lots of videos in the works. I think there might be a JRPG news update coming, because there's a lot of news that's just popped up. So hopefully that won't be too long. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing, and I'll see you all soon.